Minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. All glory be to Allah, the most merciful and mighty. I have promised you that I will discuss some of Iqbaliat in front of you, which I have collected and from some sources, and then I have pointed out and I have written on that the details on that verses of Allah by Ta'ala. So it is a short, you can say a short research on Allama Muhammad Iqbal, to which I have given the topic, the heart is the most valuable thing spiritually in Iqbaliyat. Listen again, please. The heart is the most valuable thing spiritually in Iqbaliyat. First of all, we will get introduction of Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, that what kind of personality he was, and a brief life background. Before to discuss our about research topic, it is essential to have an eye over the life of Iqbal from his birth 1877 to his miserable death in 1938. Sir Muhammad Iqbal was philosopher, poet, and well-known politician at the time of the reign of British over India. And well-known, he was born on 9th November 1877. He was a most important sage of Urdu literature. He worked both in Urdu and Persian languages. He was a modern Muslim philosopher and thinker. He is also known as Shair-e-Mashriq, poet of the East. His personality can be proclaimed as Mufakkir and scepter of Pakistan, and his literary and narrative works, Asrar-e-Khudi is the first Persian book in 1915. Ramuz-e Bekhudi, Payam-e-Mashriq, and Zabur-e-Ajam, his best known Urdu work on Bang-e-Dara, Bal-e-Jibril, Zarb-e-Kalim, and some of Armaghan-e-Hijaz. He also has a series of lectures that were later published by Oxford Press as the Reconstruction of Islamic Religious Thoughts. Sir Thomas Arnold was his best teacher at Government College Lahore. Arnold's teaching motivated Iqbal to get higher education in West. In 1905, he traveled to England for this purpose. In 1906, he obtained Bachelor of Arts from Cambridge. In 1907, Iqbal earned PhD from Germany. While his stay at Europe, Iqbal started poetry in Persia. He gave priority to Persian because it was an easy way to express his thoughts. He had also performed the position of junior professor of philosophy at Government College, Lahore. In 1905, according to Mr. Arnold, advice he went to England for higher education. In 1906, he got the degree of Bachelor of Arts. In 1908, Iqbal had done his doctorate from Munich University. During his studies in Europe, he began to write poetry in Persian. In 1899, he was selected as a professor of philosophy at Government College Lahore. Iqbal was also practicing law in Chief Court Lahore. But he quit soon. Then he devoted himself for literary works and became a member of Anjuman Himayat-e-Islam. Anjuman Himayat-e-Islam. In 1999, he became the General Secretary. First of all, his focus was on the spiritual development of human society. Afterwards, the poetry and philosophy of Maulana Rumi influenced deeply on his mind. As Iqbal was religious from childhood, he continued the study of Islam and he catched Rumi as his guide. Rahmatullahi alayhi. On December 29, 1930, Iqbal gave the idea of an individual state for Muslims. Iqbal wrote 2 books on the topic of the development of metaphysics in Persia and the reconstruction of the religious thoughts in Islam. Besides this, he also wrote many letters in English in which he revealed thought regarding Islamic Sufism. He believed that Islamic Sufism makes the soul superior in life. He also discussed the philosophy, God and the meaning of prayer, human spirit and Muslim culture, and discussed all the social and religious problems. Iqbal died on 21st April 1938 due to severe throat infection that lasted for long till his death. He will be remembered for good. I have given it the chapter 1 for introduction. हजारों साल नरगिस अपनी बेनूरी पे रोती है, बड़ी मुश्किल से होता है चमन में दीदार पैदा. हजारों साल नरगिस अपनी बेनूरी पिरोती है, बड़ी मुश्किल से होता है चमन में दीदवर पैदा. Allama Muhammad Iqbal is known by the majority of the people of the world and all the people of subcontinent as well, known by his extraordinary and the greatest status in the field of education, philosophy, poetry, and national construction thoughts. National constructive thoughts. Most of the people know the external Iqbal, but they are ignorant by his internal depth. Most of the people know the external Iqbal. They only heard the name of Iqbal, that Iqbal was a very great man, was the great man. But we are ignorant from the but we are ignorant by his internal depth, that he was so deep. He was so deep person, and he was so deep personality, and he was so topmost genius. Most of the people know the external Iqbal, but they are ignorant by his internal depth. Only a few people are aware by his oceanic thoughts and storm-like transmutational ideas. Storm-like and oceanic depth. He was deep, just like ocean, and his thoughts and his language and his structure of writing was just like a storm. By extraordinary and the greatest status in the field of education, philosophy, poetry, and national constructive thoughts. This is totally dependent upon spiritualism, as I chose the topic. So this is totally, as Iqbal was also totally upon his writing material, his written material was also totally on spiritualism. This is totally dependent upon spiritualism, because Iqbal was a person who has traveled and reached very high towards the peak of humanity. Because Iqbal was a person who reached very high to the peak of humanity. He was the best human. Iqbaliat is not for the reading only to make ourselves happier and pass the time. Iqbaliyat is not for that purpose, that we only pass the time and we become happier and we just जैसे हम उसके सिर्फ महजूज हो जाए उसकी शायरी से, ये सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं है, बट Iqbaliyat is not for the reading only to make ourselves happier and pass the time. But the study of Iqbaliyat needs the noble eye lights and a neat and clean heart like a mirror and the thoughts totally constructed. Please focus on this, this sentence. But the study of Iqbaliyat needs the noble eyesight and a neat and clean heart like a mirror and the thoughts totally constructive. Because his thoughts were totally constructive. So, our eye should also be neat and clean, and our mirror, just heard, should also be neat and clean for the reading of Iqbaliyat or for the listening purpose of Iqbaliyat. And his thoughts were constructive. We should become constructive. We should learn constructive ideas from Iqbaliyat. दिल सोच से खाली है, निगाह पाक नहीं है. दिल सोच से खाली है, निगाह पाक नहीं है. फिर इसमें अजब किया तो बेबाक नहीं. अजब शेर मतलब पूरा वो फरमाया है उन्होंने कि दिल सोच से खाली है, दिल में दर्द नहीं है, निगाह पाक नहीं है. मोमिन का निगाह पाक होगा. फिर इसमें अजब किया, ये कोई ताज्जुब की बात है कि तू बेबाक नहीं है, तू बहादुर नहीं है, तू किसी जगह को किसी को फैस करते हो तो फैस नहीं कर सकते. जैसे यू हैव टू, जैसे तुम्हें चाहिए. दिल सोच से खाली है, निगाह पाक नहीं है. फिर इसमें अजब किया तू बेबाक नहीं है. And the thoughts totally constructive. Iqbaliyat does not bear destructive thoughts, harmful actions. There is no destructive thoughts. There is neither there is a word which is harmful for nation or for the leaders. Or the feelings which bring sympathy. In his poetry there was sympathy was on the high range. He was sympathetic to his nation and to all humanity. Iqbal taught us the humanity, ethics, piousness. Iqbal also it is his effort that he would like that the leaders become pious, यानी पकीज़ा बन जाए, मुत्तकी बन जाए, pious and full devotion to Creator, Allah की तरफ, and His creatures, खालिक को भी पहचाने और मखलूक के साथ भी अपने रवाबित ठीक रखें. So that's all. Have a nice day. Inshallah, in the next lecture, I will deliver some steps from this script. So inshallah, I hope that you have the interest in this lecture and in this subject which I have choose, that Iqbal, the heart is the most important thing spiritually in Iqbaliat. It is my topic. So in the next lectures we will discuss over it further, inshallah. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.